Skadoosh. Wait, are we in frame? No, we're not in frame. We got to be over here. Okay. So, got all that on the way. Aloha, I am the Sullivan. I am the breaker of dreams, the ruiner of GPAs, the destroyer of futures. Because, my God, you might get a B in here. Or at least that's what I hear. Hey, acknowledge the elephant in the room, right? So, coming on into PreCalc. It's not high school math anymore. In fact, college algebra is below PreCalc. College algebra is kind of like algebra 2.2. It's pretty much the exact same thing again, with a little bit of introduction into trig functions and conics. That's it. College algebra is just that again. If you are looking to, I got over there, red, okay? Everything that's ever written on the board in red, that's you. Hi. Go ahead. Grab that and a charger. Notes if you want them. The goal of this class is to prepare you for the next 3. We have the dubious honor of trying to cover everything you need to go into trig, calc, and probability statistics. So that means we cover a boatload of material. You've heard the phrase, a mile wide and an inch deep. Maybe I'm just old now. Okay, that's kind of what we got to do in here. We spend the first half of the semester just pounding the living snot out of function analysis. All the stuff that you learned in Algebra 2, we dive in at Inception style. Make sure that you know functions, forwards and backwards. And then after that, we just kind of sprinkle on, here's a big unit on trig functions, get you ready for Mr. Spears' class. Here's a unit on conics and partial fractions and matrices and stuff, get you ready for trig. Here's a unit on sequences and series, get you ready for function or probability statistics. If you are headed STEM field, if you want to go on to something STEM related, this is the track for you. You take PreCalc, trig, calc. And you don't have to do all of them, but that's the goal. If the goal for you is, I'm a junior, I have to take a math, and that's it, you don't have to take this. Now, you can't have completed Algebra 2 and go do business math, because then you're just kind of yanking around, wasting everyone's time. But you can do just college algebra, dual credit, if your GPA is good enough, because there's a requirement for it. If your goal is, I want my 4th year of math so that I can get the Regent Opportunity Scholarships, you can do that with either PreCalc or college algebra and stats. You have to take both, dual credit. Okay? So just like, why are you in here? Because we got a lot of misconceptions on that, particularly in the last 2 years with everything, just the world going. We've had to, there's been a lot of kids who have registered for the wrong classes. Okay, so I just making sure that everyone knows that's what this is. This is prepping you for the next 3 classes. This gets you the 4th math for Regent and Opportunity Scholarship. Okay? That's the goal. Oh, you need to, if you want the credit, well, that's a 60, like anything else. But there's a difference between the Regent Opportunity Scholarship and continuing on to trig. To move on to trig, you need a C- in here. Just like you needed a C- as a minimum in Algebra 2 to come into here. If you did not, if you had a D in Algebra 2, you're in the wrong room. I'm assuming you're all good. You need a C- to move on to trig with Mr. Spear, but you need a C, 3% higher, to keep the Regent and Opportunity Scholarship. Like, it's just a goofy little discrepancy. It's insanely rare for someone to get below that in my room who gave a flying fornication about anything. Okay? So that's what the class is designed for. It's called pre-calculus for a reason. We do a lot of mechanical stuff, a lot of here's the foundations, it's magic, believe it, muggle kind of thing. Like, we shouldn't, the author of that shall not be named. We are preparing you for the next stuff. There's a lot of things that we do in here that you might look at it and go, why the hell am I doing this? Just like in algebra, as you first learn to move around equations and stuff, you're like, why would I ever do this? Well, then you start getting more application of it in geometry and algebra 2. Okay, so a lot of foundational stuff in here. That's what the class is. I got to keep looking at stuff because I'm scatterbrained. Okay, so you had to have had the requirement. You got to be good with functions. We will review stuff. We do have a chapter 0, literally a chapter 0 in the book, where we review basically all of Algebra 2 within 4 or 5 days. If you can't quadratic, you're in the wrong room. Okay? If I were to just randomly, oh yeah, we gotta do this thing. Come on, Frank. Frank's on the other screen, aren't you? Frank. Don't you talk, mother, I'm gonna beat some. There we go. Okay. Y'all gonna have to bear with me. I've been around 2 rambunctious toddlers all summer, and last year was without a doubt the worst of my career. So my filter is kind of, just bear with me. What happens in Sullivan's room stays in Sullivan's room. If I were to throw, can you solve it right now?
Possibly.
Not possibly. If you come in here and you look at that and you go, uh-oh, probably in the wrong room. Like, I'm sorry to say that, but you've been doing that for 3 years. Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. Okay? Now, we will review everything if you're a little fuzzy. But if you look at it and just like, the test screen that shows up at 2 a.m., I got nothing, then you're in trouble. But if there's something fuzzy in the back of your head, like, all right, so like, I hated factoring, but I could do quadratic formula. I just don't remember what it was. Like, if you're in that zone, all right, you're good. Okay? So, those are just kind of the prerequisites to come into the class, what the class is. My bouncing ball is going to be all over the place. We did the thing. Next. New laptops, brand new laptops. This is something I just got to do for White 1. Your regular login credentials that you had last year. Is there anyone here who's new? Like new to the district? We had a boatload of kids move in. Our school, as of 2 days ago, our official attendance was up to 801 students. We started turning away people for open enrollment. Okay, so fair question. Everyone's got a new laptop, same credentials as before. There is a new login system. It's a single sign-on to all of your stuff. You know how before your teachers would have to put you in classes? They'd have to put you in the book, or you'd get the teacher who didn't put you in the book because they were lazy, so instead they gave you your own redemption code to go make your own account, and then you forgot what your password was, and the tech office said, I don't know what the hell you're doing, because I didn't do that. You're supposed to use this. all that kind of stuff, it's now through a single login system. So, boot them up. Now, word on the street as of yesterday was that McGraw-Hill, which is our publisher, was having a little bit of issue with this login system. There was something that our tech department needed to fix. So if this doesn't go, it's on the left side. Whose laptop's dead? Why not, right? All right. If you are near an outlet, use one. There's one behind those books. I don't got much, but I can get 3 of you. I'm probably going to trip over this, and y'all going to laugh at me. All right. 3 of you. You think this is something they would have thought of? You'd think. It's not like we're going to need them on the first day or anything. If anyone, get up, move around, like get next to an outlet, whatever you got to do. Okay, it's important enough that I would rather we were all doing it. Go for it. I mean, I'm not mathing, so you don't have to just stare at my back for the whole time, so you should be fine. Yeah, forbidden table. You know how our administrators will just randomly walk in, sit down in the class for 10 minutes and walk out? I just leave that table open so that they can just discreetly pop in, do their thing, and walk out. That way you don't have to have Mr. Sire come like sneaking in between you and stepping over your backpack and then plopping right in between 2 of you. Right? My algebra half is 28 friggin' freshmen. I'm sorry, 27 freshmen and 1 sophomore. Yeah, okay, everyone booted up, everyone ready? Okay. So, up in the top corner of Chrome, there should be a new logo that looks like a puzzle piece. It is an extension that was installed. You can use that, or you can use the link on any of my class pages. All of my class pages, I suppose we should just go to PreCalc, right? Any of my class pages, that button will bring you to our new single login system. It's called Clever. Okay? So, whether you're poking that button or you've already found my site and you're doing this, we got to get Clever out of the way before anything else. Okay? Once y'all are to Clever, you will sign in using the credentials for your Google account from school. Okay? Not your full email address. Like everyone's got your usual username at Gmail or whatever, or at K12 Spearfish Gmail something. Everyone's got their Google account. Whatever the first part of that before at is, the actual username, it's username and your regular password. That is your login to your school Google account. You use that to log into Clever. Okay? They're trying to do that. Cords, charging. On a regular basis, no. Because on a regular basis, I'm standing right here writing and flapping my lips, which means you're right there staring at something you probably don't want to see. Come on, man. Common sense, y'all. It is. That couch will eat you. Like, you have trouble getting out of it. It sinks so much. Oh, that's a napping couch right there. Okay. So once you are logged in,
Clever. So we're good at clever, right?
yes. Found them. Okay. I just want to make sure everyone's at clever. Who is not at clever? Oh, okay. The sheer irony that it's called clever and people have trouble logging in is funny.
I'm that kid. I'm not kidding. I don't have to restart.
All right. All right, this is long enough, and I swear I am going to just face plant. Was it that dead that it just died?
No, she was like,
oh. Okay. So we need everyone to be in clever because all of that stuff about assigning you all of your online textbooks for all of your classes no longer exists. All of that is now tied directly to your campus course enrollment, which means all of the stuff in the district, you just poke it and it logs you into that site. Now that's what it's supposed to do. McGrawhill was having issues yesterday. That's what our PreCalc book is. So if I poke it because I've already been through this, I don't have to do the login screen or anything. You see all that? Reroute, reroute, reroute. Bam, I'm in. Okay, so if you're logged into Clever, you just leave that tab up and you just poke the book you're going to. There's no more of this assign you to the class or anything like that. So, tell me, is it working? Okay, so we got yeses, we got a no. Oh, okay, good. Like this was having issues yesterday, specifically this book publisher, so I want to make sure. Is anyone not at a McGraw-Hill screen that says something PreCalc? 1 potato, 2 potato, 3? Oh, okay. I was just thinking. Well, okay, you guys, y'all, you got to remember that there's about 800 kids in the building right now trying to do this. Okay, so if it's just taking a while, that's different. Natalie, you good? You don't have the extension? What the hell? Okay, you remember my site? sullivanclasses.weebly.com.
Nothing's working.
Oh, nothing is working.
Yeah.
Okay. That might just be all of our Wi-Fi crashing because 800 people. All right. Well, you always took care of business last year. I'm sure you're good. You're good. Okay. So I just needed to make sure that everyone could do that. I had to make sure that everyone could take care of Clever. All White 1 classes, everyone in the building is supposed to be doing this block. Cool. If you have if you have any of the Pearson books in your other classes, they renamed it, like the books that you've used for math for the last 3 years, right? Pearson, they called it Pearson Realize, then last year they rebranded it as Syllabus. It sounds like a prescription like hemorrhoid drug or something. Like, why do they name things like this? But anyway, Savas Easy Bridge, there's an extra step to it. Okay? So if you have Pearson books in your other classes, you got to poke this, and then it gives you like a course content thing where you just got to pick your book. And then after that, it'll bring you to the normal page. So it's a super, super slick setup. It really is easy. You just log in once and you're good to go. For the rest of the year, you never need to sign into anything. You just keep going back to Clever. Okay? So I wanted to make sure everyone had that. That's all of our books and stuff. And then device. Okay.
Still trying to get into McGrawhill.
Well, like I said, 800 people at once.
I think we all should restart our computer because Paul did, and his computer's like insanely quick.
Well, there you go.
He's
Might have done that too.
He's sitting at PreCalc.
All right.
Do I have to sign in?
No. Once you sign into Clever, it does everything for you. You're just good. Okay. Next up, I want everyone to bookmark. It is. Don't argue with me. All right. SullivanClasses.weebly.com. You can find it through the main district site by clicking on my name, or you can just go there automatically. Bookmark it. Everything you need for the class is there. Everything. Okay, for our handful of veterans, you know how this works. You'll notice the website looks very similar, but after last year, I nuked the whole thing and started from scratch. Because I want that 18 months of my life to never have memory of existing. I reserve hate for very few things. That was one of them. I'm funny. An existential crisis where everyone in this building was threatening my personal safety. So, it didn't exist. Poof, bye. If you are here, let's get rid of that. Okay, link for the textbook. If you go to under the main page, a little bit about the stuff. There's stuff about the classroom. There's all the contact information, blah, 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 blah. We're going to start at, not classes. The classroom. Okay. So, I'm doing all of this insanely out of order. But we had to get the mechanics out of the way first. The, administrative housekeeping, if you would. Now that that's out of the way, Hi, I'm Sullivan. I'll be your instructor this year. What you're going to find out pretty quick is if you have not been in my room before, okay, I take that back. If you had not been in my room before last year, I do not stand on formality. Not even close. In fact, if we're taking care of business, odds are I'm probably going to be goofing around, screwing around more than you. Okay? The idea of professionalism is just a code of conduct that erases people's personalities. It's ableist, it's sexist, it's everything that you can imagine. Professionalism is just a list of behave this way or else. I learned really early in my career that's not me. Kids can smell a fake. Just be myself. So, in here, we're going to be fairly informal. As long as you're taking care of business, we're good. Just hang out. Just enjoy things. You hungry? First hour? Cool. You know how many years in a row I had one of the Murray family sitting right there in first period math mowing down a bowl of Reese's Puffs? Go for it. You hungry? Eat. You gotta go? Door's there. You getting a call from grandma? Step out in the hall. Okay? You are all young, nearly functional adults. I will treat you as an adult until you show me I can't. It's that simple. Fridge is there. Microwave's there. Pantry's there. If you want to stash your own food. Lars would be happy to know that the Pop-Tarts are back. Probably bringing back Donut Fridays. Okay. Brownie Points are back. Okay, last year, okay, let's get that elephant out of here. I'm a double med asthmatic. Y'all know the smoke that's been floating around here for the last like 6 weeks? On a good, normal day of the universe, my control meds take care of business. I have to use my rescue inhaler maybe once, twice a month. Just the smoke in the air, I've been using it 5 to 6 times a day because it feels like I'm about to keel over and die. Do you know what a respiratory virus would do to me? So, last year, my room was full of precautions. I was the only room in the district that had a legal mask mandate. The only one in the district. And I damn near quit because of it. I fought and fought for 7 weeks. 2 union reps, 2 attorneys for 7 weeks just to get a mask mandate to protect myself. So last year, yeah, all the fun was gone. Last year sucked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Okay, last year sucked. This year we get to go back to the way it was, not because we're any safer, but because my kid's in preschool now. There's no point in having any form of precaution. Look at our building. For me, it's not a matter of if anymore. Now it's a matter of when. My kids will get COVID because I live in South Dakota. Because of the, not even political, because of the just ideology of this region. My kids will get COVID. Because of the sheer amount of exposure, I will get the breakthrough infection. I'm just screwed. I am Sheldon Cooper hopping up on the hill in paintball going, kill me. I just have to hope that I'm not that 0.2% that gets hospitalized. Okay? So, last year sucked. Without a doubt. This is my 14th year teaching. Last year was the worst of my career. I have never had anything worse than that. So, anything you heard about the last like year and a half of the Sullivan, that wasn't me. I hated that guy. Okay? Now, the last class to see me as me probably would have been your brother's class. Okay? So, that out of the way. Now that things are in fornicated mode, we're back to normal. That means if you want to stash your bag of dollar-sized microwavable pancakes in there and nuke them every day and mow them down during first period, go for it. You want to bring in your $9, whatever the crap this is, iced coffee from Starbucks, go for it. Why do you pay for that? Okay? I want because the precious. I want you to be comfortable in here. Okay? School should not be about sit here, do this, stand up, follow this code, dress this way, eat this way, talk this way, do this or else. This isn't a military academy. I want you to be comfortable so you can learn. Okay? I want you to be comfortable so you can just focus on the math. Oh, speaking of, in the green cabinet there, right underneath the calculators, if at any point something's going on with lunch line, lunch services, I missed this, I came in late, crap happened at home, whatever it is, that cabinet has a small stash of lunch, breakfast, hygiene products, you name it, free, just come in, take it. I don't care if you're in my class or not. I don't care if it's one of my students or not. If someone needs something, cabinet's got it, take it. Okay? If I'm in the room and I'm not talking to an administrator or parent, my room's open at all times. In the before times, it was not uncommon for me to be in the middle of teaching and Paige would wander in here, microwave her popcorn, and walk out. Okay, cool. I don't care. You know how many times I've taught Algebra 2 while a senior has been passed out on my couch? They come in, flop on the couch, grab a blanket, and they just disappear for 45 minutes. Okay, you needed that space, especially now that next door we don't have the, what did they call it before? Safe space. Okay, we have a Spanish class next door now. That's where our Spanish classes are. There was a lot of juniors and seniors who would just use that as their quiet spot, especially because the library, I mean, how many times do you want that as a quiet space, but it turns out there's a class of 38 kids in there, right? So if you just need a place to crash out for a while, you got a free block, you just want to plop on the couch and get those streaks. Go for it. Okay? My room is open at all times for all students. I want you to just feel comfortable here because you shouldn't have to be anxious about all the other BS around learning to actually learn. Particularly, like this, hey, I know that guy. That was just a typical lunch in my classroom. I normally had more kids in here during lunch than I do during my classes. I run game club. I'm a geek. I'm a geek and a half. We've got over 100 different games. We're going to be doing games after school Thursdays and Fridays, Magic, D&D, any tabletop gaming. Once a month we do consoles. Every quarter we do a weekend tournament in the library, order pizza, and just geek it up all day long. So I'm big on that. If people want to come in during lunch, during Spartan time, cool. Even if that isn't your jam, you just need a place the crap away from everyone. You go sit in that nice little corner, throw on your headphones, watch Netflix, and make the world disappear. Okay, fine. So I hope that alleviates, like, that's what the class culture is like in here. It should be pretty chill. But there are a few things. I said I will treat you like an adult until you show me I can't. Number one among that, I will not tolerate any misinformation. I will not tolerate any racist, trans, or homophobic speech. I will not tolerate any sexist speech. I will not tolerate anyone generally saying or doing something that infringes on another person's human rights. Period. If you have those kind of opinions, keep them to yourself. You are allowed to have those opinions. I will defend your right to have those opinions. But as soon as you say them in here, it infringes on another person's right to simply exist as they want to exist. I hope that's clear enough. Next up, if we have any of our neurodivergent folks, I am autistic. If you understand what that means, not what the media tells you, not what BS organizations like Autism Speaks, who does definitely not speak for us. I do not want to go down that. Beat some. Being autistic means that I have issues with communication, issues with sensory integration. I'm going to do and say a lot of stuff that neurotypical people do not think is normal. I do not like the idea of Asperger's because Asperger, the doctor, was a Nazi who used his definition of Asperger's to define a difference between autistic people who could live and autistic people who could be made into productive workers who to kill. So I don't like Asperger's as a label. I really don't. Functioning labels are even worse because it describes.
I'm just asking because my dad has Asperger's.
Okay. What the majority of the autistic community, adult autistic community, not the parents of autistic children, but what the majority of autistic people believe is identity first, not person with autism. It's not something that I carry along with me like luggage. Being autistic is an integral part of who and what I am. Autism, much like ADHD, much like bipolar, much like schizophrenia, it's a way that the brain is actually hardwired. It is simply a phenotype of the human species. My brain is literally like a different transmission than yours. How many of you got a manual? 1. Oh, 2. Okay. Is it 3 in the tree? There you go. Everyone else in the room, if they were to hop in your vehicle right now and try to drive it, right? It literally means that my brain is wired differently. That's why you're going to notice awkward pauses in my speech. I have trouble maintaining eye contact. I'm going to say and do things that I really shouldn't as a professional teacher because my filter sucks. The thought happens, out the mouth it goes, and I can't get it back. You just got to deal with that. I'm going to fidget. I might be stimming as I'm walking around the room. Stimming is something as simple as you might see this fat buzz-cut bald guy walking down the hallway doing this. This helps my brain focus. It helps me not worry about the world. It's like you with your Starbucks coffee. It allows you to function. Okay? So I'm going to do that stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing abnormal about it other than what we have defined it to be. If you ever find yourself anxious and masking those behaviors, particularly women are instructed socially to be a certain way, much more than men. How many of you have heard the words, boys will be boys? That is such BS. That is permitting a sexist society to let guys get away with stuff that girls can't. Which means you'll see a lot of girls who hide in neurodivergence and anxieties through little things. How many of you chew your hair? How many of you pick at your nails? How many of you chew on a pencil? How many of you have that little pop socket on your phone and all day long? For me, I really like the corner of my phone, just flipping the case on and off and 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 on and off, because it's quiet and it doesn't annoy people. How many of you right now got that leg or foot bouncing? Okay. So, neurodivergence is not nearly as uncommon as you think. This room is very supportive of that because I need it. That means if you ever find yourself anxious in my room or anyone else's, got a box full of toys and fidgets over here, keep your hands occupied. I want you to use it, particularly on test day. Holy crap, do I know when there's a chemistry test? Because I get a flood of kids come down here to check out a calculator from me and steal a fidget. I want you to, okay? And you got to know I'm going to act a little different. It's cool. The sensory integration issues, it also means, like, you notice the front 6 lights of the room. I just took the bulbs out because it's too bright. This is the only day of the school year that you're going to see this board like this. I invert the colors. I always invert the colors because it's too bright right now. That gives me a headache. Okay? Little things like that. Overwhelming smells. Okay? You in the back of the room decide that Axe in a can is equivalent to a shower, or if I hose myself down with enough Old Spice, it'll help me attract a mate because that's what YouTube commercials told me. But you do that in the back of the room. Up here, not only does just the sensation make me freak out, to me it's like you squirted it straight up my nose, being 25 feet away. It's like Wolverine. All of my senses are turned up to 11. Sometimes that's cool. I hear things that kids really don't want me to hear. Other times it sucks. Like, I have to wear earplugs to even go to our staff meetings. I can still hear everything. It's just I need it to be damped down because it's too much. If you come in here smelling, big odor, perfume, cologne, something like that, rubbing all the lotion on you, whatever, I might just kick you out of my room. Okay? It is nothing personal, and it will never be personal. That is so distracting to me that I can't function. Additionally, as an asthmatic, most colognes and perfumes, body sprays, stuff like that, they have an alcohol base to them, and it actually triggers my asthma. It makes it difficult for me to breathe. The last time this happened in class, I had kids asking if I was okay because they noticed me kind of hyperventilating and my eyes were watering. And it's just because someone threw on too much cologne in the morning. Okay? So these are all just little things. Bear with it. I'm trying to front load you with the information so it's not so socially awkward when I'm like, yo, dude, go watch the live stream. Go in the library. Okay? Which, by the way, this is right now being live streamed. There's a camera right there. Don't worry, it's pointing this way. It cannot see the front table. It only sees me because we don't want to show students on a live stream if we can avoid it. So, and please, oh please, when I say show respect to other people, that goes from everything, the basic behavior that you have been taught since day one of preschool. My kid started preschool today, and I called it. He didn't even care. The tearful goodbye you see on TV. He's like, bye, Dad! Look over as I'm getting in my truck. He's like swinging from a tree. Whee! He didn't even care. I want you to show respect to each other, and that also means stuff like respecting other people's name of choice, respecting their pronouns. That means respecting someone else's religion, their lived experiences. You can have conversations about that stuff without attacking it. I just want you to be respectful of that. I also want you, more importantly, to be respectful of yourself. I hate, even though I'm overly guilty of it, self-disparaging comments. If you say, oh, sorry, I'm dumb. Oh, you, me, skate park after school. Do not talk trash about yourself. People make mistakes. It's okay. I make mistakes. That's why brownie points are there. How many of you had McCreary or work? Yeah, they stole it from me. I've been doing that for 14 years. The idea is people make mistakes. We screw up. I'm going to screw up. What's more entertaining about it is I screw up more on the simple stuff. I'll do the 19-part partial fraction decomposition in my head, no problem, and you look at me like I'm an alien. But then I'll also say 2 plus 3 is 6. It happens. I screw up, you call it. You catch it before I catch it, brownie point. We'll start you at 25. 25 brownie points. I literally bring in friggin' brownies. Y'all, my wife can cook. Now, most of this is the last 2 years of stress eating, but damn, she can cook. Okay, we hit 25, it resets, 30. Do it again, I dare you. I want you to prove me wrong because it shows me that you're paying attention. Okay, so do we have anyone here with food allergy? Got any nut kids, gluten-free, anything? I need to know that before we do this because I always make sure we have an alternative for those kids. All right, so classroom stuff. Oh, the meat and potatoes of it, the one that everyone always wants to know, grades. All right, I can't make that bigger. I gotta zoom. Does anyone else get like slightly triggered even hearing the word zoom now? Okay, go away, go away. I don't want a backpack. What the? Okay, so those right there. I also have a special ed algebra. Well, it's not special ed algebra. It's inclusion algebra, meaning it's for kids who really struggle, and it's got a high number of students in there on IEPs. Mostly, I have PreCalc and Algebra 2. There is the 5-year total performance of kids in PreCalc. That's what happens on average. Probably a little different than what you've heard, huh? No one can pass PreCalc. Like no one, like everyone failed that. Half the class failed. Actually, no. I've had a grand total of 20 kids fail in 5 years. Yeah, I know. It's almost like if you try, you get. So, this is last year. Last year, I made some changes to my curriculum, to my grading and assessment structure, because I wanted to eliminate stress as much as possible for kids who were going to be in and out of the building with all of our quarantine, family getting sick, mom and dad still don't have jobs, all that kind of stuff. And those changes I made, I loved it. In the last 2 years, my assessment strategy, my philosophy has done a complete 180. If I could, right now, get a guarantee that every one of you would actually try your best, you would put forth your best effort without anything attached to it, no points, no letters. if you could just show up and try your best and learn. Like, I want to learn this. I wouldn't have grades at all. I don't want to have grades. I am contractually obligated to give you grades. So, I made changes to eliminate stress as much as possible, and boy, I loved it. We'll go through more here. For those of you who were in here last year, me, different. Grades, same. Okay? You. Nope. We follow the regular. This one is not weighted. We can't wait until we hit honors and AP. That's trig and calc. So this class is not weighted. Grades aren't rounded. The percentage is whatever it is. Now, if I got a kid who's been doing what they're supposed to, they're trying, they're working, they're coming in and asking extra questions, they're texting me on Remind, it is obvious this kid did their full effort. My finger might slip on the button and bump you up. But for the most part, I do not round the grades. It is what it is. I tell the story of a certain gentleman about 6 years ago. He and his buddy made a joke in Algebra 1 of who could do the least amount of work. Like, it was a running competition. If one of them did their homework, the other laughed at them and mocked them. And they did this all semester long, and this young gentleman, by the end of the year, had a 59.96. Guess who retook the course? Because every day he gave me the middle finger in terms of his work. I gave it right back. And that sucks. It really sucks because I did the math. I went back and double checked. If he would have done a single assignment late, turned a 0 out of 5 into a 3 out of 5, he would have passed. So let's be honest here. Teaching is political. Anyone who tells you different, they're lying. They're lying because the system already shows you their politics. I believe that your relationship with an instructor will affect your performance in the class. Rita Pearson recently passed. Awesome educator. Has a pretty famous TED Talk, right? TED Talks, where she has this beautiful quote that says, "Kids don't learn from people they don't like." And it's true. That also goes the other way, where if you just don't give a rip, I'm not going to go the extra distance for you. If you're doing what you're supposed to, I will move the friggin' Rockies to make sure that you get what you need. If you're putting it forward. Weights. 10% of your grade is daily in-class notes and assignments. Only 10%. And it's completion only. Showing up, doing what you're supposed to. Every example we do up here, you're writing on your notes. You're turning them in every time we do a quiz. I check them off that, yay, you did it, cool. Freebies, just for showing up and doing what you're supposed to. Don't BS it, don't copy, there's no point, it's only worth 10%. In fact, I want you to work together. Homework should not be a part of the grade as an assessment because you're still learning. How many of you in a sport? Do you want that first week of practice to be included in your season record? How many kids blew chunks that first week? Right? Oh, I remember in football, we called it Burma Road. You'd set up all of the tackling dummies and you would run. Whoom! Get up, run, boom, hit the other one, 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 all 12. Get up, back. Hit the other one, hit the other one, hit the other one, hit the other one. Every time we did Burma Road, there were at least 9 kids that just chucked all over the field. You want that to be on your season record? Do you want it to be on your grade when you're just learning how to move around 4 variable matrices? Doesn't make sense. Homework doesn't tell me what you know. It tells me what you know, your friend knows, your sister knows, your mom knows, and Google knows, and what Slater can still do. Homework doesn't tell me diddly. Y'all, on our class page, that button right there will take you to all of the course materials for this class, including every solution for everything that you will do in homework. Not just the answers, the solutions, how to actually do it. In a few short years, a lot of you are going to be in college doing a collegiate course, or maybe you're going to do college algebra online. Maybe there's a book attached to it. Life hack. Go on eBay, put in the ISBN number with the words solution manual. I don't care how beat up and written in and nasty that thing is, it is worth its weight in gold. Because how many times have you looked at how to work something out and it turns out you were pretty freaking close. You just forgot to square this number. Right? That little tiny push is the difference between you being confused as all hell and doing great. I want you to use the solutions. I want you to work together. I want you doing all that. 10% in-class daily quizzes. Every day you come in, as I do attendance and start getting stuff rolling, there's going to be a daily quiz. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to have it up here. No, I used to put it over there, but since we're doing live streams, I'm probably just going to have it up here. Daily quiz. 1 or 2 middle of the road C-level problems. That's your formative assessment. That's the thing that goes in the gradebook and matters. That says, hey, yesterday we learned this stuff. I gave you 8 problems to work on for homework. You come in the next day. Okay, cool. Can you do it? That's it. Like, it's literally taking a problem from our examples in class and changing the numbers. That's worth 10%. You score it yourself. Be honest with yourself. Because boy, is that telling when you get the kid who's got like 90% on all their daily quizzes and then their actual assessment, their quizzes and tests is like a 60. That's an awkward conversation with mom and dad. Okay. Here's the number that makes kids freak out. 70% are your actual quizzes. Kids freak out about that. Pause. It's going to be okay. 10% is a cumulative final. My finals are usually very accurate. It's very, very uncommon that a kid gets more than 5% away from their grade going into the final on the final. It's usually just a border buster. Like, I'm really close to this. Can I get over the hump or not? Okay. And then there's the Good Samaritan option. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. Those quizzes. In here, you will not have a big unit test. Who's got legit? Now, there's a difference between, oh crap, they're assessing whether I know it or not, and I definitely don't know this because I made bad choices, versus I see the word test and I mess my huggies. Who has like actual test anxiety? Or you don't have to say it, okay? Some people get really wigged out by that. How many of you come in close to a midterm report? You know how teachers, like in that 3-day period, they all give you tests? I hate to tell you, like PreCalc, Chem, AP History, we tend to have unit tests around the same time. But in here, we don't have unit tests. The entire semester is going to be a day of instruction, a day of instruction, a day of instruction, a day of instruction, a day of instruction. Review those 5 days in class, take a quiz in class on it. A day of instruction, a day of instruction, a day of instruction, a day of instruction, a day of instruction. Review it in class, take a quiz on it. All semester long. That's it. Those are your assessments. There's no big unit test. There's no 3 weeks of grind it, hope you can remember it and regurgitate it in a 90-minute torture session. That does not happen in here. You will always know what to expect because we reviewed it literally right before you did it. The quizzes themselves. Oh, it's kind of hard to see, but number 1 on your review will be number 1 on your quiz. Not the exact same numbers, but if number 3 that we review right before you take your quiz says find the period and phase shift of this sine function, then number 3 of your quiz will be find the period and phase shift of the sine function. We review it literally immediately before you do it. Right there in class. You go home that day with no homework. If you miss the quiz, come on down during Spartan time. Or my prep is maroon too, if you happen to have that open. Okay, it's not a big deal. You will always know what to expect on your assessment. Tell you, I'm a procrastinator. It is not uncommon that I will have all of your daily work checked in my physical grade book, and I get behind on stuff and I grade like these quizzes every 3 weeks or so and dump it all in the grade book at once. We review right before it. That's our thing. Open notes, open everything. A real functional adult, look stuff up. Quick, right now, what's grandma's phone number? Same. Okay, what's your best friend? The person that you are in contact with the most. What's their phone number? And I know what their Instagram handle is. Like, right? We look stuff up. Right now. Anyone. What's the capital of Honduras? Wow. Okay. Real functional adults look stuff up. If you get into programming and IT, a majority of those guys will tell you that they ain't coding from scratch. They're taking stuff from built programs and modifying it. If they don't know how to do a thing, they're probably Googling it. You know how many times I've seen our own tech guys just Google the thing that I asked them about? Real functional adults look stuff up. So I want to see what you can do on an assessment with your resources. So it's open notes. We review it right before you do it. Number 3 looks just like number 3, and you can use that on the quiz. You're still doing it, aren't you? You are still doing it. You're just doing it with the full set of resources that you would have in employment. You go work at Pizza Ranch. They're not going to say, I want you to manually enter this tab and figure out the sales tax on your own. No, you enter the thing and hit a button and it does it for you. You don't have to look up the sales tax brackets. So why would we have you do that in school? Okay? That's assessment in here. It should be zero stress. I just want you to learn something. No due dates. I will accept everything for a 3-week window and just assume that after 3 weeks, if you still haven't done it, you're just not gonna. Because sometimes life happens. You know how many times I've gotten 9 texts at like 10:30 at night from the volleyball crew saying we just got on the bus. I'm probably not getting to my homework tonight. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. I know you'll get it done eventually. We got this huge project in AP English coming up. I just can't math for like 4 days. All right, I get it. Get it done when you can. If you got to come in during Spartan time, that's cool. This is being live streamed. Every class that we have, you get to just poke the link and watch class when you need to. You have a big honking chemistry test immediately after this. So you just want to tune me out and zone in and cram for that test. Okay, cool. Even better, come and ask me, like, I'm really freaked out for this test next hour. Could I just go in the library and study for that and then watch the video later? Good. I want you to be in charge of your own life, of your own education. So I will have that 3-week window of you turned it in, we're good. After that 3 weeks, if we have not talked, which after 3 weeks, if you're not turning stuff in and I haven't talked to you, that is my fault. That is my failing. That's not on you. I would prefer that you came and talked to me. I would prefer that you were engaged in your own education. Last year, I was really bad about that. I wouldn't go talk to kids because I couldn't get my own crap straight, much less manage yours. But if you just have a discussion with me, I had a kid before who just did not math for 6 weeks. They had other stuff going on. They were doing other things, whatever. And I had them just do it all at the end of the year when they were done with their other class. Math scaffolds. You know that when you miss that one day of class, even if you can kind of figure out what's going on the rest of the week, you still kind of feel like you're chasing the bus. I know you got to do it sometime, because if you don't, you're screwed. But I know that you're going to do it eventually. I give you the flexibility to do what you need to when you need to, hoping that you'll do the same for me. Sometimes I might just not put in grades for a month. Sorry. Life, mental health, raging goblin toddlers. It happens. Okay. Alternative assessment. I'm also a special education teacher. So you have a autistic special education teacher who's a former group home director and specializes in neurodivergence and behavioral disorders as your teacher. Believe me, any circumstance that you might have, I've heard it. One of the boys in my group home, you know why he was in there? He beat his dad nearly to death with a golf club after they were using him as a sex slave. I've heard it all. I had a kid text me a couple years ago. I'm probably not getting my math done tonight. I have to go pick up my dad from the bar. 2 a.m. Life happens. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes that means that you cannot focus with a piece of paper in front of you. You come talk to me, and we will do an alternate assessment if we have to. You know how many times I've just put like 2 problems on the board and just gave a kid a marker and said, all right, tell me what's next. Okay, what does that mean? What if this happened? And I just talk it through with them, and the whole time I'm keeping a mental checklist of the different, they call them ALDs, academic level descriptors. I'm keeping track of that stuff in my head, and then afterwards I just go and assign the correct score to your quiz. You never sat down with a quiz in front of you. I'm cool with that. All you got to do is talk to me. Your daily work. I try to provide as much example as possible in class, because the idea of here's 2 examples, now have 45 minutes to work on your homework. Everyone stares at each other like, you know what's going on? I don't know what's going on. And then you end up just playing like Geometry Dash instead. That kids don't learn that way. Instead, I run class doing as many freaking examples as I can. We will usually go buzzer to buzzer. No time for homework. But then I make sure your assignments should be in the 15 to 20 minute range. Like, depending on the content, some problems are a lot more complicated than others. But most nights you'll get like 8, 10 problems, maybe. If you do not have person of interest right next to you, you don't have Netflix open, you threw your phone away, and you're actually focused on your assignment, 15, 20 minutes, maybe. Your homework is not meant to crush you here. You have a life outside the building. Go live it. The idea of go home and do an hour and a half of math for the class that you spent an hour and a half in is really dumb. I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I'm burnt out by the end of the day. I don't want to go do an hour of math. So that's why our examples and notes and stuff in class, you do have to keep up with that, because that's effectively your homework, right? It's the stuff you're doing to practice. I do it in a catch and release model. I do the thing, I show you the thing, I say, okay, I want you to do these two, and then I'm walking around the room. And I'm making sure, you good? And then we get over to Lars, he's like, I have no freaking clue what was going on. I actually didn't listen to you for the last 10 minutes. All right, bud, hold on. I'll help you out. And I'm walking around and making sure that everyone's got it and asking questions. There's a reason that our room is set up like the Senate chamber. I want you talking to each other. If it is time to, all right, everyone do these two problems, I sure don't want it quiet in here. I also don't want you talking about the new Fortnite secret layer that's coming to Magic. That's a thing. They're going to do collector editions of Fortnite cards in Magic the Gathering. They're going to make so much money. Okay, nerds like nerd stuff. Okay. Yeah. It's the history of Benalia. It's a saga. I made like $700 on that card. Yeah. Because I bought a whole bunch of them when they were like $3 a piece. I was trading kids at pre-release and stuff, and then they spiked to $40 when they top aided a couple GPs. Sold them all. That's right. Daddy's paying his mortgage. Okay. But anyway, I want as much practice and stuff in class as possible. Homework, quick, daily quizzes. Good Samaritan option. That's the one that kids really like. Okay. Extra credit is profanity in my room. Extra credit is artificial grade inflation for kids who couldn't do it right the first time. You know the class where you can just sleep through it, bring in enough Kleenex, dress up for homecoming, cook a bowl of chili, say that it's from Mexico, and now all of a sudden you have an A in the class even though you have no clue what went on. That don't happen in here. There is no extra credit. You come to me and say, what can I do to get my grade up? You asking questions? Are you engaged in class? Do you come in during Spartan time? Do you text me on Remind? Do you do any of that? No. Do that. What if I already do that? Do more of it. Okay? You cannot show up to PreCalc doing the same thing you did in Algebra 2 and expect the same result. The rigor is literally harder. You can't just show up, do the notes, do the homework, and I'm good. That's why B's were so high instead of A's. A's, this is where we see the difference between the kids who are good students and the kids who are good at math. Not much. I'm not expecting blood, sweat, and tears math. I'm just saying if you don't get it, you're on your homework, 9:30 at night, snap a picture of it, text me and say I'm having trouble with number 31. That's it. That's what I want you to do. That's the difference between getting what you had and getting one letter lower. Now, for those kids who are doing everything that they should, who are doing all of it right, the good students, we have the Good Samaritan option. Good Samaritan option says if I am required to give a final, it's going to be accurate and valid. It's going to have, it's going to cover cumulative the entire semester. And if you can show me on that final that you understand it to a higher degree of proficiency than you did going into the final, why shouldn't that be your grade? You got an 89 going into the final. You have done 80% or more of your homework and notes for this semester. You get a 97 on the final. Got a 97 for the class. Why shouldn't it be? Right? Did you learn stuff along the way? Did you show me that you know stuff from chapter 2 now better than you did in chapter 2? Hell yeah, you did. Why shouldn't that be your grade? Okay. We'll go through the rest really fast because my timing is way off today. All right, we got that, Google Drive. Okay, remind, everyone should have been on it at some point in their life. Break out your phone if you got it. If you have the Remind app, the join code is at F21 PreCalc. If you do not have the app, you don't need it. You can do it through regular text SMS. You send at F21 PreCalc to the number 81010. All of this is on the website too. You don't need to do it right now, but it is right there. You're going to want to be on it. You got a tutor in a pocket. Okay? Text me questions. Ask me things. I send out the assignment every day. If I have a kid ask me a question, I'm going to scribble on their picture, send it back to them. The next kid texts me and asks the same question. I just send them that same thing. The third kid asks me a question about that. I make a YouTube video of it real quick and I send it out to the whole class.
I tried to do it like to the text, like SMS.
The number you send it to is 81010.
Yeah. I typed that thing in, and it says I'm in Miss Young's class.
Then you type something wrong there, Haas, because that's mine.
Is it all cap? Like what's capitalized?
It doesn't need to be capitalized. Okay. Also, a feed of what I send out to the entire class will be here on this page. A link to my YouTube channel, to the playlist for this class, is right here.
Where's the PreCalc remind again?
At the top of the page on PreCalc. Okay. Further down, plan book is already embedded in my website. But if you would like to do the join code for it, I know Ms. Washka is big on the join codes, you poke that and there you go, that's your code. It's all right here, folks. Everything that you need. Later today, I am going to be sending out a message on Remind with a link for just a little like personality quiz thing that I like messing with kids. I want everyone to respond to that and correct any name or pronoun issues that our school server has. That's it. That's your homework. Everyone is going to respond to the link that I send out later today. That's it. Come in tomorrow ready to rock.